Belle Gunness stands as a chilling figure, a specter from the past whose deeds continue to haunt our understanding of human nature in American true crime history. Her story is not just one of murder, but also of deception, greed, and the exploitation of societal vulnerabilities. She operated in the early 20th century, a time of great change and also great vulnerability, where the promise of a new life could easily mask sinister intentions, leaving a trail of vanished men linked to her Indiana farm. These men, drawn by the prospect of love and partnership, met a far more sinister fate. Her case shocked the nation, capturing headlines and sparking widespread fear and disbelief, and continues to intrigue researchers today. The details of her life and crimes are still being pieced together, revealing new layers of complexity with each discovery. The full extent of her crimes remains partly unknown, shrouded in mystery and speculation, adding to the enigma that surrounds her. Gunness was a rare type of criminal for her era, a figure who defied expectations and challenged the prevailing notions of female criminality. A woman suspected of serial murder on a large scale. Her actions were not impulsive but rather carefully planned and executed. Her methods were cold and calculating, demonstrating a chilling lack of empathy and a ruthless pursuit of her goals, exploiting societal norms, turning the expectations of courtship and marriage into tools of manipulation and destruction, and targeting men seeking companionship. She preyed on their vulnerabilities, offering them a false promise of happiness and security. The discovery of human remains on her property, unearthed from the depths of her farm, revealed the true horror of her crimes, cemented her place in crime history. The sheer scale of the atrocities committed on that farm is difficult to comprehend. Belle became a dark legend, a figure of fear and fascination, her name synonymous with betrayal and brutality, her story woven into American folklore. She represents the hidden dangers that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. The era she lived in, marked by rapid growth, a time of opportunity and also of anonymity, where individuals could easily disappear without a trace. Frequent movement and slow communication created an environment where crimes could be concealed and perpetrators could evade justice. May have aided her activities. The limitations of technology and the vastness of the American landscape made it difficult to track individuals and uncover their secrets. Law enforcement struggled to identify victims, often lacking the resources and expertise to connect the dots between missing persons and potential crimes, and track suspects. The methods of investigation were primitive compared to today, making it easier for criminals to slip through the cracks. Her isolated LaPorte farm, far from the prying eyes of neighbors and authorities, became the stage for unspeakable acts, allowed for secrecy and horror. The remoteness of the location provided her with the perfect cover for her gruesome activities. Many questions about her life remain unanswered, fueling speculation and debate among historians and true crime enthusiasts. Did she die in the 1908 fire, a dramatic and convenient end to her reign of terror, or escape to live under another identity? This lingering question adds another layer of intrigue to her already captivating story. These uncertainties fuel ongoing fascination, ensuring that her name will continue to be whispered in hushed tones for generations to come. Her story is a stark reminder, a chilling example of the depths of human depravity and the importance of vigilance, of the darkness that can hide behind ordinary appearances. Belle Gunness was not a monster in the traditional sense, but a woman who used her charm and intelligence to mask her true nature. She remains a subject of books, articles, and countless discussions, each attempting to unravel the mystery of her motivations and actions. Documentaries and cautionary tales. Her story serves as a warning about the dangers of greed, deception, and the exploitation of others. Belle Gunness's legacy is complex and unsettling, a stain on the fabric of American history that continues to provoke and disturb. Her tale endures as a warning from a bygone era, a reminder that even in the most seemingly civilized societies, darkness can thrive. Belle Gunness, a name that would later become synonymous with dread, was born Brynhild Paulsdatter Storset. The year was 1859 and her life began in the remote, rural community of Selbu, Norway. Life in this region was undeniably hard, with farming and fishing serving as the primary means of survival for most families. Details surrounding her early years remain scarce, shrouded in mystery, though some accounts suggest that a traumatic event may have significantly shaped her future path and hardened her heart. Like so many other Norwegians during this era, she harbored a fervent dream of finding a better life, a more prosperous existence, in the vast and promising land of America. In the year 1881 she made the courageous decision to immigrate, resolutely leaving her beloved homeland behind, perhaps with a mix of hope and trepidation, never to return. Her sister had previously established herself in Chicago, paving the way for Belle's arrival, where Belle diligently sought and found employment as a domestic servant. It wasn't long before she decided to change her name to Belle, and she soon after married a fellow Norwegian immigrant, a man named Mads Sorensen, in the year 1884. Together, they reportedly had several children, building what seemed like a promising family life. But tragically, some of these children died at a young age, an unfortunately common and heartbreaking tragedy during that era. Sometime later, Belle and Mads made the pivotal decision to relocate to LaPorte, Indiana, arriving around the year 1901. There, they invested in their future by purchasing a farm situated on the outskirts of the town. Little did anyone know at the time, this seemingly ordinary property would soon become infamous, forever etched in history as the primary site of her most heinous and notorious crimes. LaPorte was, at the time, a quintessential small, quiet farming community, a place of simple routines and neighborly interactions, that is, until Belle's shocking actions thrust it into the national spotlight, forever associating it with dark notoriety. The farm's remote location and inherent isolation provided the perfect, undisturbed cover for her clandestine and terrifying activities. Before long, Belle had become the subject of much speculation and gossip, quickly becoming the most talked-about resident in LaPorte. Her chilling story would cast a long and enduring shadow over the town and its residents, a shadow that lingers to this day. The move to the seemingly peaceful landscape of Indiana marked the ominous beginning of her most deadly and depraved chapter. The farm's grim and unsettling reputation, born from the horrors that unfolded within its boundaries, would tragically outlast her own lifetime. Belle's dark and twisted transformation from a hopeful immigrant seeking a better life to an infamous and ruthless criminal was now tragically complete. Her horrifying actions would forever alter the perception and history of this once quiet and unassuming corner of Indiana. Belle Gunness, a name synonymous with deception and death, devised a chilling method to find her victims. It was a scheme as simple as it was sinister, preying on the vulnerabilities of the lonely and the hopeful. Matrimonial ads in newspapers. These weren't just any ads, they were carefully crafted lures designed to attract a specific type of man. These ads, common in the early 1900s, at a time when societal norms often left individuals isolated, targeted lonely men seeking companionship, a partner to share their lives with, and perhaps a fresh start. Belle portrayed herself as a kind, prosperous widow, a woman of substance and warmth, with a comfortable Indiana farm, painting a picture of idyllic rural life. She specifically sought men with financial means, those who had accumulated savings or possessed valuable assets, insisting they bring money to prove sincerity, a test of their commitment and a demonstration of their ability to provide. Her gentle, appealing tone and hints at her Norwegian heritage, a subtle nod to shared cultural identity, drew in many, especially fellow immigrants, who yearned for connection and a sense of belonging in a new land. The promise of love and security, a stable home and a loving partner, was irresistible to men who felt isolated or hopeful for a new start, a chance to rewrite their stories and find happiness. Many corresponded with Belle, pouring their hearts out in letters filled with dreams and aspirations, then traveled, sometimes from distant states or even Norway, to meet her, embarking on journeys fueled by hope and the promise of a better life. She urged them to bring their life savings, every penny they had worked for, claiming it was for their shared future, a down payment on the life they would build together. These men arrived in LaPorte, a small town in Indiana, unaware of the danger awaiting them, the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of Belle's charming facade. Belle's farm became a destination for hopeful suitors, drawn by the allure of love and prosperity, and a trap, a place where dreams went to die and fortunes vanished without a trace. The financial aspect was central to her scheme, the engine that drove her deadly enterprise. Each new arrival marked the beginning of their final journey, a one-way trip to oblivion. The pattern repeated, a macabre cycle of seduction, theft and murder, with men vanishing after visiting her, leaving behind only unanswered questions and lingering suspicions. Belle's manipulation of trust and hope, her ability to exploit the deepest desires of her victims, was as effective as it was deadly, a testament to her cunning and her complete lack of empathy. Her ads were the bait, carefully placed to attract her prey, her farm, the snare, the final destination for those who dared to answer her call. Few who answered her call ever left LaPorte alive, their dreams buried alongside their bodies in the unforgiving Indiana soil. A disturbing pattern emerged at Belle Gunness's farm. Men who visited simply vanished. Suitors arrived in LaPorte, full of hope, and were seen in town with Belle. Then, without warning, they disappeared, leaving families in the dark. Belle always had plausible explanations: a change of heart, a new destination, or a sudden journey west. The transient nature of her victims and the farm's isolation helped her avoid suspicion. Few neighbors could observe the comings and goings. The remoteness of the property allowed her to control every encounter. Over time, the sheer number of missing men became impossible to ignore. Rumors spread in the community about the constant turnover of relatives and farmhands. Some families began to investigate, but answers were elusive. Andrew Helgelion's brother, Aisley, was especially persistent after Andrew vanished. His determination to find the truth would prove crucial. Aisley's inquiries brought attention to the Gunness farm. The pattern of disappearances was finally exposed. Belle's carefully constructed web began to unravel. The community's suspicions grew into a full-blown investigation. The secrets of the farm were about to come to light. On April 28, 1908, a fire consumed Belle Gunness's farmhouse. Authorities searching the ruins found the bodies of 3 children and an adult woman, presumed to be Belle. But the real horror was just beginning. Asla Helgelion arrived, convinced his brother was buried on the property. His insistence led to a thorough search of the grounds. Investigators dug in the hog pen and unearthed a mass grave. Dismembered remains of at least a dozen victims, mostly men, were discovered. The scale of the killings shocked the nation. Newspapers across the country reported the grisly details. LaPorte became infamous overnight, drawing crowds to the murder farm. The methodical nature of the crimes was chilling. Belle Gunness was quickly labeled a monster, Lady Bluebeard and the Black Widow. The true number of victims remains uncertain, but the horror was undeniable. The farm had become a burial ground for the hopeful and the deceived. The discoveries cemented Belle's place in criminal history. The nation recoiled at the brutality and cunning of her crimes. The investigation raised more questions than answers. Belle's legend grew even darker in the aftermath. The fire at the Gunness farm was first seen as a tragedy, but doubts soon surfaced. The adult female body found was headless and smaller than Belle, making identification difficult. This fueled speculation that Belle had faked her own death, using the fire as cover. She was known for careful planning. Could she have staged her escape? Witnesses reported Belle withdrawing large sums of money before the fire and updating her will. Ray Lamphere, her hired hand, was convicted of arson, not murder, and claimed Belle was still alive. The body in the ashes was never conclusively identified as Belle. Dental records were inconclusive and experts disagreed. The uncertainty deepened the mystery. Belle's disappearance transformed her from a killer into a fugitive. The possibility of her escape became a legend in itself. Belle Gunness's fate remains one of America's great unsolved mysteries. Many believe she escaped the fire, and alleged sightings surfaced for years in cities across the country. None were ever confirmed, fueling her legend. The story of Esther Carlson, who died in Los Angeles in 1931 while awaiting trial for murder, added intrigue. Her appearance and crimes were eerily similar to Belle's. Without DNA testing, the connection was never proven. The lack of resolution keeps Belle's story alive. If she had been identified as dead or captured, her case might have faded. Instead, the open question of her fate ensures her enduring notoriety. Did she outsmart everyone and vanish, or perish in her own fire? The mystery of Belle Gunness's end persists, captivating generations. Belle Gunness became known as the Black Widow of the Midwest, a nickname as chilling as her crimes. Like the spider, she lured men with promises of love, only for them to disappear after she got their money. The nickname captured the public's imagination and horror. Other names followed, Hell's Belle and Lady Bluebeard, each reflecting her monstrous reputation. The scale of her alleged killings shocked the nation. The Black Widow moniker became a permanent part of her legend. It summarized her predatory nature in a single unforgettable phrase. The nickname is still used today, evoking images of calculated deception and cold-hearted greed. Belle's story became a staple of true crime lore. Her dark legacy endures through the power of a name. Belle Gunness's story still casts a long shadow over American true crime. More than a century later, her case remains compelling for its audacity and mystery. She exploited loneliness and trust, operating before modern forensics could catch her. The uncertainty of her fate fuels endless speculation and research. For some, she became a mythical embodiment of female evil. Her farm is now a landmark of dark tourism, and her story a staple in true crime media. Belle's case is a study in both criminal psychology and the vulnerabilities of her era. Her legacy is one of horror, mystery, and caution. The questions about her life and final days ensure she is not forgotten. The Black Widow of the Midwest endures in the public imagination.